Should I like look up if I'm allowed to talk about crimes that I've committed before that I just kind of got away with? Is that allowed, or will it, like, the YouTube police come after? I don't know what's gonna happen. It doesn't matter. Ladies, gentlemen, ghouls, goblins, things that go bump in the night and wear business casual during the day. It is your old Uncle Rossi, the sexy, saucy, rock and roll space pirate, back. Yucky intro that was. Jesus. So good at my job. I digress. On with the show. Tonight I'm going to recant to you one of the greatest triumphs I have ever experienced in my short, meaningless life, and simultaneously one of the most foolish things I have ever done. Kids, stay off drugs. Stay in school. Don't be silly like your old Uncle Rossi. I mean, like, be silly, but not like, we can't have too many Kanyes is what I'm saying. I feel like that's kind of a horrific comparison to make to myself, considering Kanye's a huge douche, but we'll edit this all out, right? Tonight I'll be tentatively telling you the story of the time that I snuck a bunch of Molly through TSA and then almost killed all of my friends with it. Like I said, not condoning the use of drugs. Please God, never have your Molly phase, because I had mine in college. I was a grimy little mud grub. I used to fucking wear face paint to parties. I used to snort the foam out of a freshly cracked beer because I thought it would get me drunk faster. Don't listen to a word I say, okay? Just enjoy the story. So as previously mentioned, I was in college taking my 5th year because I had so much fun I couldn't help but just take a victory lap. And it totally wasn't because my GPA sucked and I needed like 10 more credits to get through college. But that's neither here nor there. Without my victory lap college year, you wouldn't get this fantastic story. Anyways, I'm in my final year of college and my friends and I, for some ungodly reason, are entering what we called our Molly phase, where like things were just very accessible to us considering we were at a state school, we were in fraternities, we were pieces of trash, things along those lines. So my best pal Tony said one day when he was planning this big Florida trip that we were gonna take for spring break, our last spring break, the big last hurrah, to just be extra shitty and wake up on the side of the road somewhere in Hollywood, Florida. So Tony turns around to all my pals and he says, hey, what if we got a bunch of our friend Molly to come along for the trip for Florida? What if we just brought her along, right? We just bring our friend Molly along. It'd be fun, right? It'd be light. It's no big deal. And naturally, right off the rip, me and all my pals are like, oh my God, what a grand idea. So we just throw some money at our other pal who happens to know a guy who knows a guy to get us a big old bag of bad things. Flash forward a few weeks, we're about 3 days out from the trip, and then we all kind of realize, how are we gonna get this much of our friend Molly through TSA, because that's like really illegal. And so we're sitting around this big kitchen table. I look at friend number 1 and he's like, I don't want to fucking do it. I don't want to get arrested. And then we look at friend number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and they're all like, I can't do it. I got this. I can't get arrested. And it looks like there's only one left. And it's the guy with the social media career and a tenuous grasp on his own fate. And now that the group has ultimately decided that I am the one putting my life on the line for a good time in Florida for a couple of days, I decided to get to strategizing. Now we had about 40 capsules of the stuff, which I'm not sure if you know this, but a capsule is about this. It's like a regular old pill, you know? You take your multivites, you take your vitamin D, you take your vitamin C pills, and then you take your friend Molly. I'm sure you're wondering, Uncle Rossi, the hedonistic heavy metal space cowboy from Sector 7, how on God's green planet did you manage to sneak 40 caps of your friend Molly through TSA without getting in trouble? Well, technically I'm really not allowed to tell you because it wouldn't be legal. But my friends over at Skittles, who I'm not sponsored by the way, I just happen to have a full bag of Skittles here, could probably tell you, I really wouldn't recommend trying to sneak anything through TSA because it's highly illegal and very dangerous, and you definitely don't want to do it ever. And I'm not condoning this to anybody, and I'm not recommending that this is what you do if you want to bring a good time across state lines. So now we've got our mule, we've got our strategy, we've got everything we need. Now all we gotta do is get to the airport, get it through state lines, and have the fucking times of our lives, right? Wrong. Day of the trip comes, I'm at my best pal Tony's house. We got our other pal Carl on board. Tony's pops drives us out to Boston. We're just marching on into the airport, all gung-ho, rods at quarter chub, TMI, really sorry about that. Chins high, ready to enjoy the fucking week of our lives in Florida. And so we get into the little kiosks where you kind of start, you know, when like you take the edibles before you get on the plane, but you also take them before the kiosk, and they kind of hit when you're at the kiosk. You know what I'm talking about, the kiosks, to get like the ticket and shit. And you start freaking out, you realize you've been there for 10 minutes. That kiosk. And so we're at the kiosk and I start fishing through my pockets and I find out, plot twist, I left my wallet in Rhode Island. We're from Rhode Island, but I left my wallet in Rhode Island. We are now in Massachusetts. This is very bad news. And so for a little while, my best pal Tony, my other pal Carl are kind of trying to be good friends, and they're like, hey man, should we stick around for you? And I'm like, dude, get on that fucking plane. Don't be a good friend. I'll figure something out. And so we have to call Tony's dad and we have to get Ross home in pathetic fashion, might I add. It was a silent ride home with the one single, like, lava tear that, like, sears the side of your face. And you feel it and everyone can see it, but you fucking... It's like in SpongeBob, the single of the Goofy Goober tear, that shit. And so I get home to my parents' house, and my parents are like, what the fuck's going on? You're supposed to be in Florida right now. And I'm like, well, I forgot my wallet. And they're like, fuck you, dude. Go get a one-way ticket. You already have the round trip. Get a one-way ticket on Spirit Airlines or some comparable shitty airline, and I'll say that freely on the internet. Fuck Spirit Airlines. So that's what I did. My dad kind of put some wind back in my sails. He's like, come on, go have some fun. It's your last spring break. You might as well, come on. What is it, like $100 to get a one-way ticket? Just go do it. I'm like, all right, fine. And so I kind of ghosted my friends because I wanted this to be like a big, massive film-worthy surprise, right? I think it'd be so much fun if I just showed up and was Rudy. Spoiler alert, that's exactly what happens. On with the show. Now I've got my one-way ticket, I've got my deodorant, I've got a place to stay for the night before I get dropped off at the airport the next morning, and then the day comes, the time comes for me to walk through TSA with my backpack and my deodorant. So it's kind of waltzed through all nice. Oh, we're just here on business. Oh, hey, weather's finally warming up. Oh, thank God we're going down to Fort Lauderdale. Oh, the Airbnb's in Hollywood, though, so it's a nice walk from the beach, you know, just a regular old Mr. Rogers character making his way through. Might I add, too, that I chose purposefully not to look up the penalty for bringing that much of that substance across TSA, and if you were to be caught, how long you would be in jail, or if you had to pay a fine or whatever. I chose not to look it up because, like I said, while I'm not particularly concerned with my fate, at the exact same time, I would like not to think about possibly spending a lot of time in jail. And truthfully speaking, I'm pretty glad I didn't do my research that day because I found out later, had I gotten caught, it would have been 7 years in federal prison. I'd be in the middle of the sentence right now and not filming YouTube videos and TikToks in my fucking bedroom. Regardless, I know there's some sort of penalty, so I'm standing in the body scanner with just imaginary poop running down my leg. I'm kind of giving it one of these just to see if the backpack makes it through. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna make it through. I see the red backpack. Where's my red backpack? It's right here. Out of the deepest corner of my peripheral vision, I just see into the clear. Holy shit, we made it. Holy shit, boys, we made it. But then I hear a beep, and the little steward, cop, guard, I don't know what he was, but he was the guy, the TSA guy with the fucking, with the button up and the badge, but it's not, I don't know what, if it's a real badge, it doesn't matter. Pulls me aside in true TSA fashion, he has like the vocal tone for it, he goes, hey, and I was like, oh shit, and I kind of just waltz on over there, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he hands me my red backpack, and so instantly I'm like, yeah, so what's up? Turns out I just so happened to have a large bottle of bug spray from a camping trip that I went on the year prior in my other bag, my duffel bag. So we fucking made it through, okay? Plane flies swimmingly, we land safely in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I get there about 10:30 at night, and once I grab a hold of my 2 carry-on bags, I make the conscious decision to walk out to the area where you can call for Ubers or Lyfts or whatever other fucking apps exist now to make life easy for you. And as previously mentioned, college student, which means broke. No fucking money. I have like $400 to my name for this entire week. And I have to go out. Once I get to this Airbnb, I gotta shower up, get ready, and then go meet my friends at the bars who still have absolutely no idea that I actually made it to Florida. They thought I just bailed and I'm stuck in Rhode Island. My whole life is a comeback story like I'm Tom Brady, bitch. Get busy living or get busy dying. I digress. I look at all the Ubers and Lyfts and I realize, oh my God, it's 10:30 p.m. on a Friday night during spring break in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I'm at the Uber section of the airport, aka every single Uber and Lyft was over like $95. And this is one of those times, ghouls and goblins, where a man is confronted with a fork in the road. You can make the moral decision or you can make the right decision. And I decided to make the right decision that time because I took the Shoelace Express 7 miles to the Airbnb through the armpit of America, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in the middle of the night. Yes, you heard me correctly. I walked 7 miles with my backpack and my duffel bag through the city. I played Frogger through highways. I ran through dark golf courses. I'm pretty sure I pissed off an alligator at some point or another. I evaded about 17 ladies of the night and about 15 crackheads, one of which I actually made friends with. His name was Scott. He's from New York, moved down when he was about 23. Spent a few months down with his friends, and then his friends left without him. And then he got addicted to meth. Sweet guy, really. I just gave him $10 and sent him off to a Burger King. Really good guy. Gave me company for like 2 miles. It really was a quite quite a pleasant experience. Anyways, I finally eclipse the street where my Airbnb is, and I just start sprinting. And I'm already sweating sack because it's like 94 degrees outside, even though it's 11:30 at night. But I get into the Airbnb and I'm just sweating cocks and balls. But I tough it out, jump in the shower really quick, throw on some going out clothes. That's when I buy the Uber, because like, I'm not walking another 7 miles, okay? I earned that. I think I earned one Uber, right? I texted my one friend who knew I was there. I said, what bar are you guys at? I'm gonna go surprise everybody. And he was like, oh, we're at this bar. And then I was kind of waltzed on in. I got myself a little drinky poo, and then I look over at the mass of human beings, of stupid, dehydrated, sunburnt white people just... Yo, what school do you go to? Yeah, dude, oh yeah, what sorority are you in? That's crazy, yeah, oh yeah. I grab the shoulder of my old pal Chris and I turn him around and he goes, what the fuck is it? Ross. And the moment of film-worthy joy and triumph, I was Rudy in that moment. You've seen, Rudy. I was Rudy. I was hoisted upon the shoulders of my fucking boys and girls. There was a fun mix of people there. Being carried to the bars because he made it with the Molly. He made it with all the shit. And it was a wonderful little personal victory for your favorite heavy metal space cowboy. Then comes the next day where we decide this is the day we're gonna start using all this stuff. And we have all this fun shit planned. We're gonna go on this boat cruise and we're gonna drink our faces off and do backflips off of a boat into the ocean. And we're gonna have the time of our lives. And we're gonna take all these horrific pills, and then we're gonna go to the beach and we're gonna challenge strangers to pick up basketball games like we're in NBA 2K. And then we're gonna go out and hit this big, crazy, expensive, fancy club and take even more of it and have the fucking time of our lives and watch all the LEDs and the fire on the walls. And it's gonna be amazing, right? Wrong. Daytime was fantastic. We go on the boat cruise that I mentioned. We do some backflips off the boats. We're sharing drinks. Strangers are kissing each other. Just a real boomer's nightmare. And a few of my friends decided they wanted to take our friend Molly during the day. And for those of you who haven't heard the song, it goes, "Part Molly, I swear." Woo. You have to drink water when you court your friend Molly. Only here's the thing. Everyone's been drinking all day, no one's been eating all day, and no one's been drinking water all day, okay? A couple of us were, but most of us weren't. I was. Most of us weren't. Nobody thought a thing about it. We get back to the house, throw on some aloe vera because we're all purple now, and the whole crew decides, you know what, let's take some more. We're going out to the club. It's gonna be a grand old time. And we get into 4 different Ubers, because there's about, I think it's like 16 of us. Get into 4 different Ubers, and we all split up, and then we take this, I wanna say, 15-mile ride into the depths of Miami. And everything's going great until about halfway through the ride when my friend, actually I won't use her real name, so we'll call her Purple. My friend Purple decided to say the absolute worst thing you can say in a group chat full of people who have all taken the exact same pill. I think this stuff is laced. Newsflash, pal. It wasn't laced. It was just strong. And you didn't drink any water today, now did ya? Long story a little bit shorter, I found out that one of the Ubers containing some of my pals, all of them, every single one of them, projectile vomited in the Ubers around at the same time. It was kind of a domino effect. One person yaks, the other person sees them yak and yaks, and the other 2 are just having a panic attack and they yak. They have a panic yak. Which left 4 of the crew kicked out of the Uber on the side of the highway, rolling tits on, you guessed it, our best pal, Molly. From what I heard, just a lot of crying, throwing up, and trying desperately to find a Holiday Inn so they can just find solace and not the side of the highway. Now the rest of the Ubers make it to the destination, but 2 out of the 3 Ubers all kind of got out a little bit woozy, and they're like, hold on, I need a little bit of water. They finally start smartening up, and they're like, hold on, I need a little bit of water. But it's too late. It's too late. Girls are puking in bushes. Dudes have their heads in their hands. And then there's me, my old pal Tony, and 2 of my other friends whose names I will not mention. We'll call them Vic and Mick. 4 of us are sitting there like, well, this hasn't hit me yet, until eventually it kind of did. And I look over and Vic goes, bleh. But then she just wipes her mouth off and chugs some water and goes, bleh. I'm okay. I fought through it. And I didn't have to fight through it yet. Tony didn't have to fight through it yet. Mick didn't have to fight through it yet. So we're thinking, Jesus H. tap dancing Christ, what's about to happen to us right now? So we just sit on the curb and we sip our water and we kind of just wait, and it starts kicking in. We're like, okay. And here's where a man is confronted with another fork in the road. You can either sit here and succumb to it like everybody else did and have the worst night of your life, or you can tough it out for the next couple of minutes, get through it, find your way to the promised land, and enjoy the shit out of your night. And that, my friends, is exactly what I did. So me, Tony, Mick, and Vic, being the shitty human beings that we are, we enjoyed a fantastic night of bottle service that was paid for us by a good friend of ours who happened to go to school down in Miami. A table that was meant for 16, mind you, is now being used by 4. So I'm sure you can imagine the fruit of the trade was plentiful. We'll put it that way. While myself, Tony, Mick, and Vic had the absolute times of our lives, the remainder of my group was I was going to say slowly dying, not slowly dying, quickly dying, strewn about the state of Florida, the southern half of the state of Florida, trying and gripping desperately for dear life. And that, ladies, gentlemen, ghouls, and goblins, was the last time any of us hung out with our friend Molly. That is all I got for you tonight, folks. Thank you so much again for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, get on all my other platforms, because you don't really have a choice. You have the illusion of choice. Because really, if you don't, then that makes me your new sleep paralysis demon. Congrats on that, by the way. I know it sounds like something you might want. I can assure you, it is not. Boys and girls, stay off drugs, be a good friend, and kiss your loved ones. Good night, sleep tight, and get the fuck out of my sight. For the love of God, get the fuck out of my... Why are you still in my sight?